All right, guys, welcome to part 5 of your final exam review. Here we have negative a half plus 4z equals negative 1/7. So what we'd like to do first is try to get this term with the variable by itself. So we're going to add 1/2 to both sides. Okay, so 1/2. We're going to take 4z and set that equal to, if you take a look here, I can't work with these two fractions because my denominators are not the same. So I need to find a common denominator between 2 and 7, and that would be 14. So 7 times 2 is 14, so 1 times 2 is 2. Don't forget the negative. 2 times 7 is 14, so 1 times 7 is 7. Negative 2 plus 7 is negative 5 over 14. And now we have our variable 4 times z equals negative 5 over 14. So we can divide by 4, divide by 4. These cancel, giving us z equals, remember we have a fraction here, so dividing by a number is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. So negative 5 over 14 times 1/4. So z equals negative 5 over 56. All right, guys, so here's example 40. If you notice, we have a negative 6d minus 9d plus 5d. All on the left side here, we have what's called, if you remember, like terms. So what we're going to do is take negative 6, subtract 9, that gives us negative 15d, and then add 5d, and that equals 60. Okay, and negative 15 plus 5, since the signs are different, we will subtract them to get negative 10. Just give me a second here. Negative 10d equals 60. So to isolate the variable, we divide both sides by negative 10, and we get an answer of d equals negative 6. For 42, we want to find the unit rate. That means how many miles can we travel in 1 hour. Unit rate means your denominator must be 1. So we take 650 over 10. Remember, the 650 represents miles, and the 10 represents hours. And we divide the numerator by 10, and we divide the denominator by 10, because we want a denominator of 1. And that equals 650 divided by 10 is 65 miles per 1 hour. 43 asks us to find the unit rate. Well, we actually don't need to do much math, because if we look here, there are 0 floors to 0 buildings. There are 15 floors to 1 building. There are 30 floors to 2 buildings. So we want to find the unit rate. How many floors per 1 building? So our answer is 15 floors. Type this out for you. 15 15 floors per building. Okay. Number 44, at 4:19 p.m., you have 118 megabytes of songs. At 4:34, you have 958. What is the download rate in megabytes per second? Well, what we need to do here is find a relationship between megabytes and seconds or minutes. So what we're going to do is find what the increase is from 118 to 598. So you can just take out your calculator. I'll show you what to do here. Actually, you guys can't use a calculator, sorry. So we're going to take 958 and subtract 118, and we get 840. So 840 represents the megabytes per, let's see how many minutes passed. It was 4:19, and it's now 4:34. So what you want to do is take the difference from 34 minutes and subtract 19. And that gives us a solution of 15 minutes. But the question's asking us, what's the downloadable rate in megabytes per minute? So we're going to write this as a ratio, 840 over 15, and divide the numerator and denominator by 15, because we want a denominator of 1. All right, so if you do 840 divide 15, we get 56. Remember, this represents megabytes, not sure what the abbreviation is, over 1 minute. Our answer is 56 megabytes per minute. Find the slope of the line. Remember, slope means the change in y over the change in x. So if I take a look at the y values, I'm looking at 3 and 0. And to find the change, you can do 0 minus 3 or 0 minus 3 or 3 minus 0. So I'm going to choose to do 3 minus 0, since that'll give me a positive answer. And then I want to do the change in x. So if I did 3 minus 0, I must do 5 minus 0. And my solution is just to simplify this. So 3 minus 0 is 3, and 5 minus 0 is 5. So my slope equals 3 over 5. Number 26 on top, we're going to find the change in y. So 4 minus 2 is 2. And the change in x, 6 minus 3 is 3. So my slope is 2 to 3. Every time I go up 2 units, I go right 3 units. And if we take a look at the last example, again, change in y over change in x for 47. The y is 2 minus 0.5, so that gives me 1.5. 1.5 over 8 minus 2 is 6. And if you want to get rid of this decimal point in the numerator, multiply the top numerator and the bottom denominator by 10 to get 15 over 60. And then we reduce. What number can go into both of these? And the answer is 15. So 15 divided 15 is 1. And 60 divided by 15 is 4. So your slope is 1 to 4. For 47, use the table to write a proportion. Now, what's nice about this instruction is it's just asking you to write a proportion. It's not asking you to solve. So I'm going to show you a couple ways. One way we can use the table is compare triangle 1 to triangle 2. So we can write B compares to 6 equal to 10 compared to 5. That's one way, writing the numbers left to right. And another way is to do B over 10. So that's all triangle 1, base and height. Compare it to 6 to 5. That's all of triangle 2. And the opposites of all these are true. So if you go back to this first example, we can flip this. We can write 6 over B compares to 5 over 10. So if you look at this, 6 to B compares to 5 to 10. And a fourth way you can write this, we can take the opposite of this. Instead of going top to bottom, we can go bottom to top. We can go 10 over B compares to 5 over 6. Okay, you don't need to know all 4 methods. Just pick one of the 4 ways that you like the best. What number is 5% of 80? Remember, we have the percent proportion is over of equals your percent over 100. So, and we also have our equation, our percent equation. A equals P times W. A equals part percent times whole. P is your percent. All right, and make sure in the equation you convert the percent to a decimal. So in this example, I'm going to use the proportion. So I know 5 is the percent because it says 5%. I know the word is before it, but there's a percent sign there. So this is 5 out of 100. Okay, we're going to compare that to, this says of 80. So 80 is the total. That's my of, or my denominator. Okay. So what we're going to do is 80 times 5, and that's 400. And we're then going to divide by 100, and that gives us an answer of 4. So x equals 4. If you do the percent equation, it would be A equals 0.05, because we're converting the percent to a decimal, times 80. And if you take 0.05 and times it by 80, we get A equals 4. All right, you don't need to know necessarily both ways, but at this point you should be familiar with the 2 forms. And you can pick either way for your final exam.